welcome to We Got Options with the Doctor and Son. We're back from a nice little break that we've taken for the end of March, and it is the first week of April. And one of the things that we have been kind of encountering and dealing with is the fact that there are a lot of individuals out there that are looking for therapy services, psychotherapy, talk therapy. Individuals are wanting to get into the world of therapy and understand what it's all about. So I wanted to start this show. Me and Tremaine are going to actually go through and talk a little bit about therapy because I'm also noticing that a lot of young individuals are jumping into therapy nowadays. And I know people will give the younger generation the rap of, oh, you guys are just, it's just trending now. It's just trendy to have a therapist now. But a lot of individuals of the younger generation is coming to therapy with a lot of questions, not only a lot of questions, but a lot of issues and a lot of concerns. So I wanted to jump in today and just talk about Therapy 101. So that's what the idea and the premise here is, that we're going to just talk about just thinking about being in therapy and what is consisted of when you start therapy, because a lot of people, they have no idea, what we're going to talk about. So one of the things that I try to just speak with my younger individuals and my adults as well, my older adults as well, that have never done therapy before, is just wanting to put out there that it is a process that you go through, just like the process of making a cake, the process of getting ready to go out for a run or a swim. There's a process. There are things that go on. There are reasons why you're feeling you need to get therapy, reasons why you need to make that cake, reasons why you want to go for a run or a swim. And then there are things you have to do to get ready to prepare for it. And there are things you have to kind of really adjust with therapy. You have to adjust things in your mind, as in you want to deal with some things that is very hard to deal with. And then you also want to consider, being open and being vulnerable with your therapist, because your therapist is having a confidential conversation with you. Your information is just staying with them. And then the next part of it is you making the decision and have the mindset that you want to make a change. And then from there, it's all about, the goals, of course, the interventions and execution to make sure that you are having better outcomes. Okay. So when we're thinking in terms of therapy, I like to tell individuals that when you consider finding a therapist, if you have certain things that are going on in your life and certain things that you think that is real complex and things that you think that are, far out there, I always tell individuals, most therapists that are practicing are individuals that feel that they have something to offer others. For whatever reasons, they have something to offer others in terms of just working through different scenarios and situations in their own life, maybe helping others work through situations from maybe a young adult, working through different things that have gone on in other people's lives. Maybe even being involved and feeling that I can tell people the tug on the heartstrings when things happen to other people, how they know they have some great ideas and they have some great things, things that could be interventions that could help individuals or techniques that could help individuals. So a lot of us go into therapy for so many different reasons. And I think that that's something to consider when you're looking for a therapist. A lot of people do call me for consulting. A lot of people call me for just advice on different things, or just some guidance and some support from time to time. And I do give individuals that guidance and that support, that consultation per se, and help them to even find a therapist, especially if that therapist is not going to be me, or I have a full caseload. So a lot of times I do tell individuals that, a lot of times when you're looking for a therapist, it's a process as well. And it's a process that you have to be ready for. So, Tremaine, one of the things that I was just thinking about is, because I mentioned earlier, your generation, a lot of younger individuals are coming through for therapy right now. And like I said, I'm trying to say to a lot of individuals, especially my age, that no, a lot of the individuals I'm getting, therapy is just not trendy for them. A lot of them do have a lot of concerns about what's going on, especially coming of age and getting out in the world. So I'm getting a lot of individuals in that neck of the woods that they're, coming of age between 20 and 25, even from 30 to 25 to 36, 38, that are really finding themselves in a jam right now. What are your thoughts on that right now?
It's just time and environment, really. I mean, it's just different generational things. What was the environment like for you? To me, it's different. So
Mm-hmm.
the idea of having somebody help you go through it is going to be more necessary than maybe when you were growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe and I wouldn't want to even say that either, because I would also want to say that in terms of some back in back when you were younger, a lot of that wasn't talked about in the circles you ran in.
That's true.
Therapy wasn't talked about in the circles you ran in, and that
No.
could have helped out some people.
Mm-hmm.
It's I think it's always been a necessary thing. It's whether the generation takes up on it or not.
That's correct. I agree. Agreed. Agreed. I think that in my generation, therapy became more um, understanding as we got older. Because as we got older, I like to tell people stuff started falling all around me, and I was trying to hold up a lot, and things started, falling through the cracks. And so therapy started being more made sense in my mid to late 20s for me. It really made sense. Don't get me wrong. I always thought therapy was something, or counseling was something good to do, but I think it became more acceptable and understanding for me after, going through it and going through some things in my mid to late 20s, early to mid to late 20s, and then really jumping on board and saying, oh my goodness, I think I have that bug. I'm sure I want to be a therapist. And then finally putting myself in position to go to school. So I think life is a little bit different now for, I think, the younger generation because of technology too. I think it's kind of overwhelming sometimes for the generation, but it was also overwhelming for us. I must admit that.
I mean, we're all gonna hit the wall eventually.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of when.
Right, right. And I have friends and colleagues that didn't hit the wall until later. I promise you.
It's
Yeah.
not a matter of if, only when.
Yeah, it's when. You're right. It's when. I've had colleagues that have hit the wall, and didn't hit the wall when it came to relationship, didn't hit the wall when it came to, getting out of school and doing other stuff. They hit the wall when it came down to their career.
Yeah, I mean, people in general are so multifaceted that you're not going to have a perfect run in every field that you go into.
Yeah, every aspect of life is not going to be the perfect scenario.
You're gonna need help, and that's why we interact with other people, to get that type of reassurance that you might be hard at first, but you have to get used to it. You have to adjust.
That's the other word. I'm glad you said adjust, because I was going to say a lot of times when things have been going good for 3-4 years and all of a sudden there's a jump and a change, and people start to feel like, oh, I'm a little bit more antsy, or I'm a little bit more tired, or I'm a little bit more this or that. I tell them it might be that time in life where you're actually changing, when things are starting to change, and you've got to figure out what your change is going to be to keep up with where life is going. It's not going to be the same for 30, 40 years, and that's it.
Life ever changing, you have to be able to adapt.
Mm-hmm. Correct. So that's one of the things that I do. I love that about counseling also, because I've had people that have come to me and said that, like, I'm not sure what's happening right now. I don't feel this and I don't feel that, or I don't get interest here or there. And I tell them, well, we got to think about kind of changing that, because evidently something's changing. And we have to make sure that you're adequate enough and you can figure out what needs to be adjusted also so that you can change with it and you can continue to go forward. So I think that's a something to consider. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's one of the big things when I do talk about therapy 101. That's just one of the things that I try to tell individuals, that everybody come to therapy for totally different reasons. Totally. And I also think that individuals sometimes tend to come to therapy and think that I might have a magic wand, or the therapist got a magic wand, and we don't. We don't have a crystal ball to look in, the black ball, crystal ball to look in. We don't have all of that, but we do have a lot of insight. We do have a lot of knowledge, and most of us have a lot of experience.
I would assume therapy is about perspective, because number one, usually when we think of our lives, we see it from only our perspective.
Correct.
And sometimes you need that other perspective to give you clarity in what you need to be doing.
Yes, and a therapist can give you some genuine, very genuine perspective, I think.
Because they're outside of your purview.
Correct. It's not the same. I always tell people it's not the same perspective mom will give you, or the same perspective dad will give you, or a friend will give you.
Because they have a bit more of a stake in your life.
Correct.
So they're going to necessarily maybe tell you to hang on to things that you shouldn't hang on to, maybe do things that, they have a vested interest in telling you certain things.
Absolutely.
And you don't need a person that's going to have a vested interest in telling you exactly what you need to hear. You need to sometimes hear a little bit of the truth about your situation.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that's why the idea of a therapist works so well, because that's a person that does not see your whole life. You are telling them what you see, and they're giving their opinion, and you're able to bounce off of that.
Right.
And be like, well, yeah, maybe I didn't see it like that.
And a lot of times, I will say this in therapy also, that I do run into individuals that want me to tell them what to do. And I always tell them, I cannot tell you what to do. And I always remind them that they have the answer inside of them, and that we're going to work and we're going to work and we're going to work until we actually clear the smoke or clear the air, and you see your answer right in front of you, because you already know what you're going to do.
You already know what you're going to do. And, somebody can tell you what to do.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean you're going to automatically do the thing, especially when push comes to shove.
Correct.
You need to come to that conclusion on your own and really be like, do you want to do that?
Exactly. And I like to tell my clients also that you already know what you're going to do. The goal for us is to come up with a plan, come up with the best way to execute it, and to figure out what's going to be the best outcome for you.
Yeah.
And they always say, well, I don't even know if I should do this because mom told me I shouldn't. Dad told me I should. And I'm like,
that's why you were there to, because you don't have it. Your parents have a vested interest in you to tell you.
Yeah.
Like they are the people that raised you. They know you well, and they don't not mean bad by their advice, of course. But they're not going to be the best person to give you that advice, because once you're an adult, they're adults. It's different. Not that, and I will say there is a moment of change in your relationship once you are an adult and they are, they're still your parents, but they don't control you in that way as when you were a child.
Correct.
But that might be hard to break for them as parents.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You're still their child, but you do have to be like, well, you're gonna need a second opinion from somebody who isn't as invested into your life as your parents would be.
Exactly. And that's where a lot of times as therapists, we come in. And again, like I said, not only just help them clear the smoke or clear the, clouds away from whatever's happening, but also to help individuals kind of walk through. I do a lot of things where I help people walk through the scenario. Let's walk through the scenario this way if you do. Let's walk through the scenario this way if you don't. Let's talk about it. We got to explore.
Some people have to see the pros and cons of their situation.
Exactly.
Better grasp their situation.
Yeah, I give a lot of different ways, techniques, and different skills that I've learned over the years to help, individuals go through and help individuals figure out what their gut feeling. And that's another thing I do too, is I have them dig deep for whatever their gut is telling them. Because I tell them, if your gut's telling you that, typically, if your intuition is taking you there, it's probably going to be the best scenario at this point. So a lot of times, like I said, we're talking about therapy. Everyone asks so many questions about getting into therapy. And I have individuals that come in fearful. So when we come back from this commercial break, we'll talk about individuals that come in a little fearful with therapy. We'll be back after these messages. Hi, this is Dr. Latasha McElwain, and I would like to introduce my first book. The name of my first book is Fragile Brokenness: The Unspoken Secrets That Shape a Pretty Unprotected Girl into a Practicing Clinician and Therapist. My key phrase is, when life gave me lemons, I gave life a doctor. I hope this would be an inspiring read for everyone, with inspiring experiences and heavy experiences that will bring about the importance of being self-aware, dealing with traumas, and being focused on your mental health wellness. The proof is in the journey. I hope you enjoy my book, Fragile Brokenness: The Unspoken Secrets That Shape a Pretty Unprotected Girl into a Practicing Clinician and Therapist. Sales begin December 2023. Doctor and Son. And today we are still talking about Therapy 101, people getting psychotherapy or people getting talk therapy, and kind of what to expect from it. And with talking about what to expect from it, we decided we'll start talking about the fears of individuals coming into therapy session, the first therapy session. And one of the things that I noticed is when people first come into a therapy session, they don't know what to say, how to say it. They don't know where to start. They don't know what to approach. And I think they're really trying to get to know their therapist better when they come in for therapy. One of the things that I typically do, I start them off with letting them know that it's just a conversation. We're just going to talk. Depending on where my client is coming from, and this is amazing when I talk about telehealth, because telehealth has changed the platform so much for us. When I get a client coming through telehealth, those clients really are in different scenarios, as far as they've already done a lot of intake work and things of that nature. And so I'm getting already information on them that's telling me whether they're suicidal, whether they've already seen a therapist before, whether they're homicidal, or whether they have substance use, whether they've been in the hospital before. I mean, I get a lot of questions answered that would be a part of what I would do with a client walking into my office for the first time. That clinical assessment, a lot of stuff is already answered for me when I'm doing telehealth, because there's so much information that goes out prior to them seeing me. So as soon as they schedule their session with me for telehealth, they get a whole lot of intake information that's done. Same thing with some other services that I do as well. An intake team will go out and work with the individual and get some information from them. So I already have all this information when it comes to me sitting down with the individual, and really they're sitting down sharing what's going on. And I think for the most part, that helps a lot of my individuals kind of, because I start with this. My favorite question is truly, so what brings you to therapy at this point in your life? What has happened? So I want to know, what has tipped the boat over that you felt like, okay, I need to go talk to somebody, or what has happened that put you in a position where I went ahead and I just scheduled a session. Usually that's where most of my individuals start, and they feel comfortable starting there because they can get right to it at that point. So I try to take a little bit of pressure off of them by just giving them that particular statement, that particular question, and that usually helps a lot. But when we're talking about fear, Tremaine, can you think of some things as far as a person going into a therapy session, the fears that might be there?
I mean, a therapy session, what I would assume would be like a first date. You have to get somebody to like, drop their mask. Because we all come in with the kind of try to come off as well adjusted as it can be in front of the therapist, especially the first time.
Absolutely. Yes. And I get individuals that come in that's pretty much the walls up and everything else, because of course I still do not only just cases of individuals coming through because they want to get help themselves. I have cases that individuals are coming through because they're court ordered to come to therapy. And so, I get people that come in all the time. Exactly. The wall is up and they're not willing to talk to me. And then as soon as they get in there and they start talking to me, a lot of them start saying, okay, she's good. We can talk. It is a conversation. And they're jumping for the next session, or they're ready for the next session. No one's never really jumping for the next session, but a lot of them start to really see progress in their life and they feel like they can get something out of it. The ones that, aren't that sure about coming and, come to the first session, I tell people by the third session, we should be absolutely good. That's my thought.
Yeah.
But I usually tell my clients, if by the third session, you're still leery about it, then could be a couple of things going on. You might not be ready for therapy yet, or you're not ready to do the work. So you're not ready for therapy yet, or you can't commit to it. So being ready for it and committing to it, that's two different. I think it's two different things a lot of times, because being ready for it means that you can actually deal with whatever the issues are. You can bring it to the forefront and everything else. But being ready to commit to it, that's actually, I'm getting ready to work through this thing. Because I've had people that came to me the first time they were ready and we were able to talk through it. Well, let me say it this way. They came to me the first time they weren't ready and we had our moments or whatever. Then they came to me a second time and they were ready. Okay, they were ready. But when they were ready, they were just ready to put that stuff out there. They wasn't ready to go ahead and commit to doing something different. Now they came to me the third time. Now they're committing to doing something different. I've had individuals like that. And I've had individuals that have been with me for years that have actually gone through those steps. Not ready.
I mean,
yeah. I'm ready. And
say,
then committing.
Like we say, you have to hit the wall. And sometimes that may happen between 3 visits. I mean, 3 visits is not like every week.
3 visits could be 2 months.
Well, no, actually,
or like a few weeks.
Yeah,
it doesn't take long to hit the wall. It's just when you hit the wall. It's
exactly.
It's a matter of when, not if.
Exactly. And I always tell people the first 3 sessions, I'm real, cool with everybody, and they know how I am because I tell them already that, I'm straightforward. I'm going to tell you the good and I'm going to tell you the bad. And they always be like, oh boy. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm a straight shooter type therapist. And I think being a straight shooter type therapist works for a lot of people who realize that, oh, it's not going to always be rainbows and unicorns. Sometimes it's going to be dark and the goon's going to come out and I got to protect myself and I got to make sure I'm okay. And I got to prepare for that. They have to realize that they're,
I mean, I think, as people in general, we're not taught our coping skills necessarily.
Yeah.
It doesn't come up in like normal interaction with our family. It doesn't come up.
Oh yeah, I believe that.
Like the coping mechanisms that we use, they don't come up. We might build some, but they don't. Some of them are healthy. Some of them are not right that we should not be doing.
That's right.
And it's like you do have it's like going to school again.
Mm-hmm.
A therapist is going to give you coping mechanisms, things that you can do that are constructive, that are somewhat healthier for you.
Mm-hmm.
And you may need that to be able to take on the hurdles of life.
Oh, absolutely. And I think a lot of times the homework that we give, that's where it gets a little weird also. Individuals are like, you give homework? And I'm like,
putting what you learn to practice application is always the toughest part.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to go to a commercial break, but we'll come back and talk about this homework when we get back. So we'll be back after these messages. And hello, this is Dr. Latasha McElwain with the Green McElwain Foundation. I have teamed up with osjourneys.com for a wonderful health and wellness retreat in Belize. Our dates for the retreat will be May 21st through May 27th of 2024. There's going to be luxury accommodations. There's going to be a whole lot of time to be able to reflect on things and finding your inner self. The health and wellness retreat will focus on just breathing, just being able to breathe. That is the mantra or the outcome of many individuals nowadays looking for a mind, body, and soul rejuvenation, restoration, and retreat. Come join us. You can get more information at osjourneys.com for travel and for the retreat in Belize. Come join us. And we're back with We Got Options with the Doctor and Son. And just following up with our conversation on Therapy 101, talking about psychotherapy and talk therapy. We talked about kind of introduction to therapy, why people are getting in therapy. We talked about kind of the fears that individuals have with therapy. And then we stopped a little minute ago talking about homework, trying to put some effort into the interventions that we're coming up with and the techniques that we're wanting to try. I'm a big explorer. So I have my clients explore a lot. I talk about a lot of different things. I always try to tell them that modification is the king and the queen of making sure that we are making a difference and we're doing some different things when it comes down to being a well-adjusted person. So if we got some concerns and we got some things going on, we're seriously wanting to we're going to talk about these things. Of course, you're going to talk about how you grew up. You're going to talk about your past. You're going to talk about, what went on in life. You're going to talk about all the different things different relationship concerns and issues. You're going to talk about how things were when you were in school. You're going to talk about how it was at home, what the family dynamics were like. You're going to talk about all these things. Then you're going to start talking about what's currently happening. And when you start talking about all these things, a lot will come up and we will explore some of the things you've done in life, such as what was the result from this relationship? What was the result from that relationship? What was the result from this situation in school? What was the result from this family dynamic? So we're talking about all these different things. And then we go into giving you homework assignments, which means that we're asking you to take some of the interventions and some of the techniques and some of the things that we're talking about. We're going to use the skills that we're talking about and all those good things. We're asking you to get out into the world and use it. Because, of course, typically it's outpatient therapy. We're talking about getting therapy, and outpatient therapy means that, you are coming in and out for therapy once a week, twice a week, whatever the case may be. You're coming in and out for therapy, typically once a week. And you are going to take some of those ideas and some of those interventions and techniques and skills, and you're going to put some to work, some to use. So a lot of times we give worksheets. Sometimes we give real life scenarios and situations. I like to give real life scenarios and situations based on the individual saying, well, you know what, I can try this. Or, I can try that. Or, you know what, I haven't tried that. So a lot of times it's a lot of going into different things and then just giving it a try. Tremaine, what are your thoughts when we talk about homework assignments when individuals come through therapy?
I mean, therapy is like a learning a lesson. Mm-hmm. And with all lessons, it's no good if you don't put it into practice.
Agreed. I can definitely agree with that.
If you don't work toward the goal, I'm like, you can talk about the goal all you want to. You can say what you want. You can do all that in therapy, but if you don't apply it, what point is having that information? What point is having the way to make your life better if you don't know to take it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If you don't know what it is that you're, really wanting, and we've already came up with a goal. We've already came up with what you're trying to achieve. And we've already came up with the intervention or the technique that you're going to try. Yeah, everything's there.
It's just execution.
Execution. You do it. Yes. And that's where a lot of people kind of, get stuck in the sauce, and I tell them, we've got to push forward. And that's one of the things that I do tell individuals about, is that I'm definitely one of those therapists that will help you get to that point of execution and help you get to that point of feeling better and knowing better, and I think that's real important, definitely in this day and time, because, it's a lot of stimulation out there in the world. And a lot of that stimulation really sends individuals, reeling when it comes to depression, when it comes to anxiety, when it comes to adjustment disorders, when it comes to just feeling out of sorts, I believe,
Yeah. It's very difficult to navigate. And sometimes you want to do the right thing, but you don't want to do it because you're afraid of the situational change. You're afraid of what may necessarily come about.
The change.
If you have to let somebody go, if you have to maybe not take their advice so close to heart.
Yes.
And you be like, but they've been with me forever, And I mean, I was like, as African Americans, as Black people, we do this. We are ride or die people.
Oh yeah.
It's very hard to let go of influences in your life that aren't serving you well. So the thing is not that you don't have to completely let them go. It's just that you can't take their words to heart as much as you would like to, as much as you have been.
Oh, absolutely.
You have to actually find your boundaries with that person.
Yeah, and I think it's the biggest thing is a lot of people, and most people are, because I am sometimes as well. We're afraid of change. We are afraid of what that change is going to be or what that change is going to look like. So a lot of times we get to
will I lose something?
Yes, by losing.
Yeah, like it's the idea of loss, and like, will I lose something if I do the right thing? If I tell them maybe they got to step off, is that going to mean that they're not going to want to hang with me no more?
Right, exactly. So a lot of times it is that. You're right. And I think going through therapy, that gives us a chance to talk about those things. That gives us a chance to explore what it would be like one way or the other, or explore if it's no longer, So there's a lot that,
I mean, it's a part of developing yourself, and the part of the development that you have to accept.
Yeah.
From day one is change.
Yeah, there's a lot of development, a lot of personal development, a lot of human development. There's a lot that's happening. Those are the things that we study in psychology. Those are the things that we study when it comes down to counseling and things of that nature, all the human development courses and things of that nature. So a lot of times, we're the professionals at it, and we just want to make sure that individuals are realizing that there is typically, like I like to always say, there is a process. It is a process. Yeah. So with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the show today. We are so happy that you came to join us for our podcast. We are fully on YouTube now, and we would like everyone to come and listen with us. We are on Insightful Options on YouTube, and we're also on Insightful Options 1 on YouTube. You can also check us out on our websites. Our websites are www.drlatashamacawain.com and also www.insightful-options.com and www.greenmacawainfoundation.org. And as always, we thank you so much for tuning in and listening to us. And we hope that you come back to join us again. Have a great one. Are you looking for counseling? Are you looking for consulting? Are you looking for coaching? Well, Insightful Options, PLLC, in Charlotte, North Carolina, located at 615 East 6th Street, Office Suite 112, Charlotte, North Carolina 28202. They provide these services and more. If you're looking for coaching, if you're looking for someone to be able to help guide you through some of the processes, if you're looking for someone to work through or help you figure out what the processes are, Insightful Options also has consulting. Those individuals will work with you and deal with the issues or the concerns that you have coming up and work with you to get to a process where you can actually understand and be able to focus on creating a better result. If you're looking for counseling, Insightful Option also provides counseling services. Counseling services that range from just overall life experiences, mental health, substance abuse, domestic violence, and anger management. Providing these services are clinicians that are supervised by Dr. Latasha McElwain. If you're interested in services, please contact 704-492-1105, or you can reach us online at www.insightful-options.com. Again, that's www.insightful-options.com.